Hi, I'm Amy, and I'm going to talk to you today about boundaries. Now, boundaries is a huge topic. You can find all kinds of things about it on the internet. There's books, there's magazine articles, and everywhere you go, you're going to run into something about boundaries. It's such a big topic that there's no way that I can cover everything in 3 minutes. But here's what I'm going to talk about today. It's a word that's used a lot by counselors and coaches and different people, and you hear all the time, oh, we need to set boundaries. You need to do your boundaries better. And sometimes because we hear it so much, we think about it being a negative thing because we think, man, it takes so much time and effort to set boundaries and stay there. And sometimes we have to because it refers to things in our lives where they are dangerous, or there may be some things that we really need to set boundaries on. But today we're just going to talk about some other ideas with boundaries and see if we can come up with some positive things about to say with them. We use boundaries every day and don't even think about it. If you think about driving a car, you get in the car, you leave your driveway, and all of a sudden you're coming across all kinds of boundaries. You have to be able to stay on the right road. I mean, how many of you have been stuck in traffic and being angry because someone crossed a boundary and caused an accident or did something stupid? So we all know that there's rules that we need to live by. Or even cooking. You think about the food you have. You go and you pick the right food. You figure out what skillet it goes in or what temperature the oven is. Those are all types of boundaries that we use every day because if we don't, we can get some bad consequences. Nobody likes bad food. Nobody likes to be stuck in traffic. Even this glass of water is a kind of boundary. When you take a look at it, water's purpose is to stay in a glass for a drink, which I will probably take right now. I don't know if you've been at the supper table with your children and somebody spills the water. Well, why do you get angry? Nobody wants to lap water off the table. So the glass itself is a boundary that's useful every day that we use, but we don't think about it. So what are some of the positive things we can say about boundaries? One of the things is that it gives us freedom to be who we are created to be. When we don't set personal boundaries, we allow other people into our lives, and sometimes they spill over into our lives in ways that aren't good for us. And so we aren't able to pull ourselves away from it, and so we kind of lose who we are in the middle of it. Without boundaries, we kind of sometimes get tangled in the identity because we don't know which is their junk and which is our junk. And so it's really hard to figure that out. So it's important that if you have them, you'll be able to have more freedom. And what I mean by freedom, it allows you to be able to be around people that have issues with their boundaries, but you have your own in place, and so it doesn't affect you as much as it would be if you walk around and say, hey, it's okay, you can spill all over me. Another thing that it does is it helps us walk in the mess of our lives, of other people's lives, and it helps us to be free and effective in what we do. Now, one of the things about having boundaries that's important to remember is that when we have them, we are able to use our own passions and our own creativeness and those things that are God-given. And when we don't have other people's spills, then we can use those in a way. And so when I say you can be more effective, I'm talking about you might even have to say, you know, this is my gift and strength in life, and I can use it here. But somebody else might be better at fixing the mess that's going on right now, and being able to recognize that in yourself and in others so that you can do that. Another thing about that is it keeps you from being overwhelmed, because we all know that life is messy, and when you have people in your lives or just anything in your life, it can be situations. If we have clear boundaries of who we are and who we're created to be, then it's a lot easier to keep from being overwhelmed by those things that come alive, because you're able to say, hold on a minute, this is my stuff and this is their stuff. Or this is my stuff, but I know how to handle it better because this is where my strengths are. I see my weaknesses, but I can move forward. Another thing to think about is we always think about the negative part of setting boundaries, but by setting boundaries, we might be saying no to some good things, but opening ourselves up for even better things. Boundaries help us manage ourselves in a way so we have energy to do those things that we really want to do in life. In other words, it helps us prioritize. They also help us keep from being guilted by people in our lives that want us to do things for us. If we can say no to different things, then we know we don't have time to do them. No one likes to be guilted, and if you can put a boundary there, then you'll be more effective in what you have to get done for the day. Another thing too to remember, boundaries help us focus and spend our time, money, and energy on the things we are called to do, instead of pouring ourselves into anything and everything and not accomplishing anything in particular. So, last thing to remember, in all the things that is going on, no is an acceptable answer.